Hi, this is Magan Chen. Today, I'd like to share some thoughts on the 7 habits of highly effective people, specifically the habit about seeking first to understand, then to be understood, especially focusing on seeking first to understand from a speech therapy perspective. Now, very often when parents come in, they're thinking, I would like my girl to talk better. I would like my boy to talk better. And what I find myself sharing is that in order to talk better, it always helps if your child listens better as well. And more specifically, in order to have better conversation, your child needs better comprehension. What this means is that quite often children are pretty good at expressing what they see. So they might say, oh, doggy, or oh, mommy's eating cookie. So they're able to share what they see, make some comments. But children like that may sometimes still struggle with having a conversation with you. When you're asking them questions about what you've just read, when you're asking them questions about what happened in school, you might find that it's very hard to communicate with them. Okay, so I'd like to share some perspectives to help you understand why your child is having difficulties and what you can do. So what your child needs to be able to respond to questions is that there are actually 3 skills. Okay, first of all, your child needs to recognize that it's a question which needs an answer. If you think about the earlier stages of a child picking up speech, very often what they're responding to is our model. We're showing them, oh, that's a ball, right? This is a banana. So it's more like a request for repetition. We'd like them to repeat after us. Banana, say banana, or say crocodile, whatever. So when we talk to them, it's a request for them to repeat after us. But that's not the case for a question. If it's a question, you don't want them to repeat the question back to you, right? What is your name? You don't want them to repeat, what is your name? So your child needs to recognize it is a question which needs an answer. That means what kind of a sentence it is. So it's not a request for repetition. And also it's not a comment that does not require a response. Again, sometimes when you talk to them, it's more like a model. You want them to repeat, right? Say banana or say crocodile. Sometimes you may be saying something that does not require a response with them. Oh, good girl. Oh, way to go. Okay, that doesn't really require a verbal repetition. Okay, then number 2, your child needs to be able to recognize what kind of question it is, or what we call what kind of WH question word. There are different WH question words. In English, we ask what questions, we ask who questions, we ask where questions, when, why, how. All right. So the earlier ones tend to be obviously what is this? What is this? What is daddy doing? What is the girl doing? And then moving on to who. So with different WH questions, you need to recognize. So for a who question, for example, means that the answer is related to, somebody. It could be daddy, it could be mommy, it could be my teacher, it could be my friend. So who is a question that requires you to think about answering and telling somebody who is the person. Where is a different question, right? So it requires you to be able to talk about maybe, something's underneath, maybe it's inside, it's behind. There are other words, where, what kind of place it is. Oh, that's called a hairdresser's salon. All right, that's called a fire station. Right, again, different types of question words, which relates to number 3, which is the vocabulary. So even after you know what kind of question word it is or who, you might be thinking, oh, so what do we call the person who races horses? Oh, that's a jockey. Right, what do we call the person who's standing, at a football game and he's giving out the cards? He blows the whistle. What do we call him? He's a referee. Or in certain games, he's an umpire. So again, there are different words that children need to be able to learn. So quite often, children start off learning what we call nouns or names of objects. They're just learning. Oh, this is called that's a shoe. That's head. Shoulders. And so forth. And then they need to be able to move on to using what we call action words, for example. Very often that's the next step in order for children to move on to a sentence, to have a complete sentence. You can't have the boy and ice cream. That's not going to be a complete sentence. You need something like, the boy is eating an ice cream. The boy, oops, dropped the ice cream. Things like that. All right, so hopefully this gives you a better perspective as to why your child is not able to respond to questions, and gives you a better idea of what you need to work on. Do remember that obviously for them, learning all this is not the same as us communicating. We already know this. So to us, it may look very straightforward. So one useful tip might be to think about applying your experience when you're using a foreign language. If you go to a foreign country and encounter a foreign language, it makes it a little bit easier to realize that, hey, it's not that easy. When somebody talks to me, I've got no idea. Are they greeting me? Are they asking me a question? Have they just given me some information? If they ask me a question, okay, what is it they want to know? All right, so hopefully thinking about that will give you a better understanding as to how, that's what it feels like when I don't understand the language, and how you can support your child. Maybe use a lot of pictures, use pointer pictures, use actual actions and so forth. That's what really helps children to understand, giving them a context. Right, so hopefully this is a very quick summary, just to give you a framework to understand the processes involved. So I hope you found this useful. If you found this useful, please consider giving me some encouragement. You can like, subscribe, and make some comments. And I hope to see you in more videos. Thank you.